What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, guys. This is Sane, and today we're continuing the video trend we've been going over for the past little while of ranking all of the types for a Nuzlocke, kind of generally, and comparing all of the Pokemon within that type, how good they would be for your Nuzlocke runs. Today we're doing Ice, the nice type. We've got all our T's here. We've got Vanilla Ice, which is the cream of the crop, which is fitting because ice cream. We have S tier, which is Antarctica. A tier, Glacier. B, Hail. C, Snow. And F, which is a cold puddle. Let's get into it. I'm going to go in reverse generation order. So I'm going to start with Gen 8 and go to Gen 1. I'm also just going to talk about like alternate forms like the two Avalugs together because they're the same thing. So let's get into it. So let's start with Arctozolt or Arctovish. Arctovish is, I have it in C tier. It's a moderately bulky water ice type, but it's just so hard power crept in Generation 8. There's just nothing you could do. Even Fishious Rend, you get Fishious Rend way too late. I think the level cap for it is like the last fight, so it's just like, I guess it's got some reason that you maybe bring it. So it's C tier instead of F tier. But yeah, it's just so much worse than every other water type pretty much you'd ever. Ice has this really unfortunate rep that typically just having a water type with Ice Beam is always better. And that's true for a lot of Pokemon, and Arctovish is another kind of case of that. At least Arctozolt has like the Bolt Beam stab, which is cool, and that'll always be good. That'll always give you something. So it's also C tier. I put it a little bit above, but not like so tremendously better, you know. I think C tier is just fitting space. Ice-Q is F tier because I don't think it's worth it. The ability is kind of cool in Hail. You basically can take it. It's only physical hits though, which is just super niche, and it does not do enough damage to really constitute it. If it had like Swords Dance or Nasty Plot or some way to set up, it would like be worth it because you could like take the turn that you get hit to set up, and then you have the 130 speed, which is great to like sweep and stuff. But you just no, it's such a waste of your time. Don't do it. As funny as this Pokemon is, it's not worth it. Absolutely not. Frostmoth, I think, is actually okay. I can't remember where I had it in the bug type tier list, but Ice and Bug is horrible defensive typing. Offensively, it's okay. You hit a lot of interesting things. Like you're gonna hit Psychic, you hit Dark, you hit Dragon, you're hitting Flying for Bug. So there's some cool things you hit. It's got some cool coverage. Quiver Dance, you get 50 in like the 50s, which is usable. It's usable. Shield Dust is an okay ability. If it had Icy Scales as not a hidden ability, it would be a lot better. That just like negates so much damage you take on the special side, so it'd be a really good special wall. But still, Quiver Dance and like Shield Dust is a decent enough combo to give it something. I could see myself using this thing on my team for some instances. So I think it's C tier. I leave it somewhere in the C tier, probably above these guys because it's more usable early. I think because these guys are really there's no reason to use them until like 63, which sucks. Well, you've got like 10 earlier levels on Frostmoth. Mr. Rime gets a lot of the benefits that Mr. Mime has, which is really cool support movesets like Screens, you get Encore, Fake Out, some cool stuff. And it evolves and it's like a little bit bulkier. I think that the Ice typing instead of the Fairy typing, I think Mr. Rime is just worse than Mr. Mime. But I think there's still some really good stuff to it, and so I think B tier is fair. I like it. Psychic coverage is cool. I wish it hit harder. I wish it had more. I wish it had more speed or it hit harder. I feel like it's not different enough from Mr. Mime. But there's still some stuff. There's still some good stuff going for it. I think it's a very solid support mon, so I'd put it B tier. I really like Mr. Mime as a support Pokemon. So if I was doing like an Ice Monolock or something, or I had Mr. Rime instead, I could still find the use for it. It does basically the same things that Mr. Mime does, not Mr. Rime. Screen Cleaner is a pretty much useless ability. It doesn't really do anything for you. Galarian Darmanitan is an immediate S tier because Guerrilla Tactics is just a free Choice Band. And in Gen 8 you can get like Choice Band or Choice Scarf, or even just like Life Orb, or there's other stuff. It's crazy. It's an immediate S tier. It's just, you can't switch your move, but you just are gonna blow things up, and like Darmanitan is just a glass cannon anyways. So it feeds perfectly into the playstyle. Like it's such a no-brainer Pokemon, and this ability is crazy. This is like one of the craziest Pokemon ever because of this ability. And I don't rank hidden abilities, but I'm still gonna talk about Galarian Darmanitan just because whatever. You have more speed and a little bit more attack, and the fire typing makes you the Flare Blitz TM or whatever you get on it have stab, which is cool, and you basically just belly drum. It allows you to use Darmanitan like belly drum. It's you can use belly drum, cool, but like you're already so strong you don't need it, so it's not even as good as just Galarian Darmanitan. Guerrilla Tactics, I guess, but yeah, it's still S tier. It's still up there. Ninetales without Snow Warning and Aurora Veil and stuff is just not that good. Like, competitive is really solid because of the Snow Warning Aurora Veil combo it gets. It just doesn't get that in the gameplay, in a playthrough. And so Ice Fairy with not a very high special attack, good speed is like okay. I just don't see a lot of good stuff going for it. The Fairy typing doesn't help it as much as it kind of need. Like, Fairy typing doesn't really feel necessary here because your Ice type, you're already killing dragons. It's like the main use for Ice type and the main use for Fairy. The main use for Ice type is killing dragons, and Fairy already does that. So it's like the two types feel redundant for a Nuzlocke playthrough, like for a normal gameplay playthrough. Again, not competitive. This is not a competitive like VGC or anything list. Just for your Nuzlocks, and it just doesn't hit hard enough. There's not enough going for it. But Sand Slash I really like. Sand Slash benefits from getting the Steel typing, and Ice and Steel is not that big of a detriment to the Steel type. You lose your resistance to Rock, and your weakness to Fighting and Fire, which you already had, are just now quad weakness. So like that's scary, but also you never want to fight them anyways. I think like if you have just a couple weaknesses, it's pretty easy to play around those weaknesses. Like there's only 3 things Galarian Sand Slash or Alolan Sand Slash has to watch out for: Fire, Fighting, and Ground. But you even can beat Ground now because you're an Ice type and you can take the hits. It makes it a better tank as being a Steel type, and the Ice typing is just like some cool coverage. Like Ice typing helps the Steel types now beat the Flying types and the Dragon types harder, walls them out. It doesn't just wall them out, it also hits them super effectively. It's a great user of Avalanche. I like it. I like it a lot. I think A tier is a very fitting spot for it. It can use Swords Dance to make itself stronger. You've got like Gyro Ball for things that are faster than you. Yeah, I think it's very good. Just because it's a Steel type. That's the big the big benefit here really. Grabominable has Iron Fist Ice Punch, which is cool. It's just too slow, not really bulky enough. And I don't think it hits. I mean, 135 is good. It's really good. It hits really hard, but I wish I had more bulk or more speed. It just doesn't feel as good, you know. Maybe like the top of B tier. I think Mr. Rhyme is just a little bit. I think it's just B tier is fine. B tier is it's solid. It's a very usable Pokemon. You can get away with using it and have good success with it. I just don't think it's anything amazing, and that's what I think B tier is. Both Avalugg forms I'm gonna put in the B tier. You have, I don't think the ability really helps you. So like this is Legends Arceus, Hisuian, Avalugg, and the Rock type gives you resistance to like normal. It gives you resistances that you can use against as a physical wall. This thing is a physical wall, and it does not ever fight a special attacker ever. But it's a very good physical wall. You have Curse, you have Recover. It uses Avalanche really well. Avalanche is good on these slow, bulky Ice types because it's just things are gonna hit you first anyways. They're gonna go before you anyways. So you'll get the double power. So you'll have a 120 base power physical Ice type stab move, which is great because they don't have good physical stab without it. Rock stab is like okay. I think the Rock typing is. I don't know which Avalugg would be better if you had literally the exact same the exact two in the same game. I don't think anyone is better or worse, so I'm just gonna leave it like that. Curse Recover is really good for a tank. It does that one job. It does the one niche pretty well. So I think B tier. B tier or maybe C tier. It's too much of a niche. Yeah, I have it in C tier. Sorry. Let me lower it down a little bit. It's too much of a niche, but it has a pretty solid niche as a physical tank. Aurorus, Refrigerate is pretty cool. Hyper Beam will be the strongest Ice type move, and it gets increased, so it'll be the strongest Ice type attack. And it's got like okay bulk, but Ice Rock just has so many weaknesses. It's gonna be hard to use this thing, but it can be good. It can deal some good damage. And even like Hyper Voice or Refrigerate Hyper Voice is just a better Ice Beam. But again, like the trade-offs, Refrigerate is not a good enough trade-off to make it good. So it's in C tier. Cryogonal in Gen 5. I think Cryogonal is good. I think it's a really bad physical. It has really bad physical defense. I was like losing my words, but it's a really good special. It's a really good special tank. You have Recover and you have Acid Armor and Reflect and stuff. So you've got ways to patch up your defense. So it's not like you're helpless. You know, it's still you're still frail, but like you can patch it up. And you got like you got a lot of like Confuse Ray. You've got good speed. I like it. For an ice type, I like it. Plus, Levitate's really cool. Just a random ground immunity, literally just for no reason. Just having an immunity as your ability is great. It's super solid. It gives it free switch-ins. I like it. I don't know. A tier feels a little weird to me, but compared to everyone else I have in the B tier, I think it's a step above them. Maybe Mr. Rhyme should go up there too. I have it like next to Mr. Rhyme. I'll leave them. I'll put them together. Wherever they'll stay together. Maybe I'll do that. I'll leave it at the top of B tier for now. Beartic is so in Gen 5, Beartic has Snow Cloak is the only ability. Slush Rush is hidden, or Swift Swim is a hidden ability, and Slush Rush is not a thing for it. It also doesn't have as good attack, and in later generations it gets like Slush Rush as a normal ability you can have, and it gets increased attack, so it gets a lot better, and you can put it on a rain team, which is really cool. And it has like Aqua Jet, which is cool. So the inconsistencies is gonna make me bounce it into B. Later generations with Slush Rush and Swift Swim, I think Swift Swim is always hidden ability, but with Slush Rush to make it kind of fast and buffed attack, it's maybe like B tier. But Gen 5 Beartic is like C tier. So just kind of understand that. I'm going to leave it at the bottom of B tier. And just kind of understand that's what I mean by that. It's a very inconsistent Pokemon because it gets a pretty big change to it. Vanilluxe is... it's a very easy to use Ice type. I'm going to put it in the B tier like here. It's got decent special attack. It's got okay speed. Enough bulk to take. Neutral hits, fine. A moderate moveset, you know, it's got some okay, it's kind of just okay across the board for an ice type. It's got good stats. It's got good stat total, and which makes it easy. I think it's easy. It's an ice type to fill the role that you're gonna want it to do, which is just like kill dragons and hit stab ice beams. So there you go. And it also has Snow Warning, which is cool. I guess Snow Warning in later generations get Snow Warning, which is a crazy good buff because you're Hail Blizzard combo, perfect accuracy Blizzard is really solid. So I'll leave it in the B tier. I'll leave it B tier, yeah. I don't think it's quite Sandslash. Maybe it's Sandslash. Maybe I'm gonna move all three of these up. How about that? I'll move all three of these guys up. And how about that? I'll do that. Alright, Frostlass, the ghost typing is cool, but it's just too, it doesn't do enough damage. And it's way too frail to be a good support of ghost type. It just ends up not being worth it, in my opinion, compared to a lot of others, but it's still solid. Ghost and Ice is cool offensive coverage. It just needs to hit harder. If it hit harder, like 90 special attack. Give me 90, 95. Give me 95. And I'd like it a lot. I'd put like 80 or something. I think it's got some good things going for it. Like Confuse Ray Will-O-Wisp is solid. Snow Cloak doesn't really do anything for you. Curse Body, it's too frail, you don't want it to get hit. It's fast. It's a fast ice beams is cool. You use it for fast ice beams, which is good for something, I guess. I put it like here. Glalie is just so not worth it. 80 and everything is just no. Has like not good coverage, not a good ability. It's just worse than Frostlass, and Frostlass already isn't good, so no, absolutely not. No. Glaceon's going in the A tier. It's kind of like Vanilluxe. It's very easy to use. Vanilluxe has, at least it has like Snow Warning and Blizzard going for it, but Glaceon just hits really hard. It's not at all the best evolution because Ice type is just not that good. This type is just not that good. So like this A tier is like compared to like a normal tier list, these Pokemon are like, I have Glaceon like a B tier, I think, in Platinum. B tier, C tier Pokemon. But as an ice type, it's one of the better ones. I'd probably put it at the top of this list. Not Sandslash is a steel type. Like, he's got that crazy good buff going for him. Glaceon it's got enough bulk to take neutral hits pretty well, and it's gonna hit really hard with Stab Ice Beam and like Shadow Ball. It gets like Water Pulse in Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, which is cool. I can learn it at least. Eevee gets Baton Pass, so if you get a move on it, they can Baton Pass ever. There you go, cool. That's like something. Yeah, it's all right. It's got good bulk. It's got good bulk, and it hits really hard. It works. It works as an ice type. Mamoswine. Let's talk about an actual good Pokemon. Ground and Ice hits a lot of things. Really, it has such good coverage, and Oblivious will block Intimidate, and you can't get infatuated, so you're just able to clean sweep easier. Thick Fat is hidden ability. What is the other one? Snow Cloak doesn't really matter. This thing's got good HP and like decent enough bulk to be able to take hits okay. It's got a usable speed stat. It's not fast, but it's not slow. And it hits really hard. And yeah, Stab Earthquake, Icicle Crash, Ice Shard, excuse me. Rock Slide coverage is, you can use Avalanche on it if you want to. You don't really need to, but yeah, I think it's really solid. It's a really good Pokemon. It is meant to be offensive. It's got enough bulk to be offensive and not be. It's not like a total glass cannon. It's very solid, and I think it goes in the S tier. Piloswine though, this is like Gen 3 Piloswine, Gen 3, Gen 2, Gen 3 Piloswine, where Ice is still special, so it's a horrible Ice type, and it's a very lackluster Ground type, so it's F tier. Sorry, buddy. And Sneasel is the same thing. Sneasel doesn't get stabbed. Sneasel does not get stabbed in Gen 3 at all. So, sorry, bud. There's just always better options. Weavile is, in competitive, it's like super, super good. But in Nuzlocke, you often don't have good Ice Stab. You don't always get Ice Punch. And so you're like, yeah, and as a Dark type, it's kind of the same thing. Like, Night Slash is good. You have like Sword Slash, Sword Dance, Night Slash. Knockoff, Beat Up could be good. So it's like, it's a good Pokemon. I'd put it A tier for sure. I like it. I think it's top of A tier with Sandslash, as the secondary typing really carries it. And it also gives you a reason to have an Ice type on your team, because you also have the Dark type on your team, which is just like it gives you, there's a reason to use it. It can definitely Swords Dance Sweep, but I don't think it's quite S tier, and the lack of consistent. If it just learned Ice Punch, I'd be willing to put it S tier, but it doesn't. And so you don't always have good Ice Stab. You might just be Ice Shard, which is redundant on it because you're already so fast. And that's a big deal. I think it's a big deal to me. So A tier it is. Abomasnow, you have Snow Warning, Blizzard, Hail Blizzard combo. You got the Grass Stab. Grass type gives it some resistances to things you're going to want to use it against besides Dragon. So like, it's good for killing ground types. It's good for... It's now an Ice type that can be water types. So you have like Freeze Dry to snipe like the water flying types that grass can't hit. Earthquake Stab or Earthquake coverage, sorry, is really good for it. It's got enough bulk to take neutral hits. Okay, it's not bulky by any means, but it's not super squishy. I'll put it here like I like Croc. I'll put it like around here of these guys. I think it's solid. Also, it's like the grass typing gives you a reason to have an Ice type on your team, kind of thing, and that's another big deal. Kind of like Weavile. On Gen 3, Walrein is a good bulky water type, and it can have Thick Fat, so you can keep the fire resistance that you would usually lose with the water Ice typing, which is cool. And then you also have like Ice Body, which is good for Walrein Stall, which is more of a competitive thing. But it's a bulky water type. It has Body Slam, which is cool. You get Encore, which is cool. I think it's solid. I think it's a very solid Pokemon. Bulky water type, Stab Ice Beam, without having to, without any detriments of being an Ice type really, except for the fighting weakness, the rock weakness too, I guess. But yeah, I think it's solid enough. I think A tier is a good spot for it. Castform. I don't know why I'm ranking the Ice. Whether hail form, cast form, but I am, and it's just a worse Glalie in every way. It's literally just Glalie, but with 10 less stats and everything, but it can turn into other types, so it's better. So I guess it's better. There you go. Delibird is trash. I'm not going to talk about Delibird. It's just horrible. It's one of the worst Pokemon ever made. Alright, on to the Gen 1 Ice types. Lapras is a better Walrein. It is bulkier. It doesn't hit as hard, but the coverage it gets makes it kind of hit harder. It can have Perish Song, which is super clutch. You still get Body Slam. And it can learn Psychic for some reason, and I think the real kicker is Thunder. It can even have Shell Armor is an amazing ability. You just never have to worry about crits. It's one of the best abilities in Nuzlocke. I would put it top 3, honestly. Maybe not that much, but like it's a really, maybe top 5, top 10. It's a really good ability. You just never have to worry about crits, and it's bulky, which is great. You can do like if you have like Rain Dish, I think it is. Rain Dish's ability, or Hydration. Or no, Water Absorb, sorry. Excuse me. Water Absorb is the other ability, which is great. So you have Shell Armor, which is great, and Water Absorb, which gives you water immunity, and it can also have like a Thunderbolt or Thunder to beat other water types. So 2 really good abilities, really good stats, amazing move pool, Water Ice typing, Stab, Ice Beam, Stab, Surf. You have Bolt Beam coverage, Psychic Surf. This thing carries you in Kanto. Literally, it's the carry Pokemon. This is literally the carry Pokemon. And I'm putting it at the top S tier. I don't know if I'm going to put it as the #1 Ice type. It might be Galarian Darmanitan, but let's talk about the rest for now. Jinx is kind of what I wish Mr. Rhyme was. Is the stats that I wish Mr. Rhyme was. And so I think it's a little bit better. It's got the speed, it's got a good special attack. Sweet Kiss is cool, it can put things to sleep. And then it's pretty much just Ice Beam, Psychic Stab. You can have Nasty Plot to buff it, to boost your special attack and really pop off too. I think it's solid. It's really good. It's really, really good in Kanto because Psychic is just so good. And then the added Ice type Stab is cool. And in other gens, other games, I think it's still got the good speed. It still has a good special attack. It still just has good things going for it. And yeah. And Cloyster. Cloyster is... This thing really depends on what generation you're playing, but for the sake of this list, I'll kind of balance it out. So Gen 3, this thing has either Shell Armor or... Gen 3, you pretty much just have Shell Armor, which is great. And it's a better Avalugg, because it's just a physical tank, does not have special defense, has usable attack and special attack. It's like, okay. But when you have like Shell Smash and stuff, when I have Shell Smash and Skill Link and Icicle Sphere and Rock Blast and Pin Missile TMs and stuff, in the right generation, it can be really, really good. And it can go into S tier. And so I'll put it S tier. I'll put it S tier, but just understand, like, hear me when I say earlier generations like Gen 3, Gen 4, when it doesn't have Skill Link and Shell Smash and stuff, it's not this good. But it can really pop off, so I'm going to put it S tier. And Dugong is a very solid support Pokemon. I'll put it at the top of B because stats don't hold up super well. It's not as bulky as like a Walrein, so it's like worse than a Walrein kind of thing. But you have Signal Beam coverage, which could be really cool. Headbutt could be fun. You learn Icy Wind, which is great support. You learn Encore, which is an amazing support move. And Rain Dance, Hydration, it can keep it alive. And you set rain for your team. Encore carries it. Encore carries it. It has some good moves, and it's still bulky enough to be like a bulky, supportive water type with Icy Wind to lower speed. It's got a lot of good support to it, and I love using this thing. It's one of my favorite Pokemon, so of course I love it. It's Sea Lion. I love Sea Lions. Look at this. Just look how cute it is. Look how cute this thing is. It's clearly the best ice type ever. But no, in all honesty, Encore, Icy Wind, it's got some good support things going for it, while still being able to do, like, Stab Surf, Stab Ice Beam. Even if it's not hitting super hard, it's still, like, good attacking moves to do some good damage. And Signal Beam is fun. That's some fun coverage. And for the last part of this video, to crown Vanilla Ice, in my opinion, so Cloyster is not here. Is not in the running for it, and Galarian, or in Zen mode, Darmanitan is not in the running because it's hidden ability and it's kind of a weird one. So between these three, I think Darmanitan is just better than Mamoswine because of it's faster, it hits harder, and Guerrilla Tactics is just stupid. It's just on. It has a choice band, and you can give it a choice band, and then it's double choice band. And it's just stupid. And Lapras has so much coverage. It's so easy to use. Really, just covers so many bases for you. And so I want to say ease of use. I want to say Lapras. But potential is by far Darmanitan. I'm going to put them both here. I'm going to leave them both. And you guys are going to have to deal with it. But Lapras, ease of use, ice type. Lapras is a Pokemon I think is just, it's so easy to use. It's so just, you get it, you give it whatever TMs you want. The electric coverage, Psychic if you wanted to. Body Slam works even just by level up. It's going to get the moves it needs. It gets like Hydro Pump and stuff. And Darmanitan, you have to switch it out. Darmanitan's gonna require more team building, more pivoting, because you're gonna lock yourself into one move. Like you're gonna lock yourself into your Ice Crash, which is most of the time what you're probably clicking. Like this thing is pretty much just if you can get Choice Band, you Galarian Tactics, Choice Band, or Scarf maybe, but probably Choice Band, Icicle Shard, or Icicle Crash, sorry, and just go Burr, go literal Burr. Last type goes Burr because it's frozen. Alright, that's enough of this. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in to this video. I'm not sure what type is coming next. I'll have to think about it. I'll post it. Stay tuned to the channel. Subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with the posts on what future content I'm going to be doing and questions I'd like to ask you guys. And as well as subscribing will get you guys notified and get you quicker access to my videos that I do weekly. I might start streaming more as I get more runs, especially when Scarlet and Violet comes out. I'm going to be streaming that game, whether it's a Nuzlocke or a normal playthrough, and just giving my thoughts on the game and stuff. And thank you guys for tuning in the video. Like if you like the video, if you enjoyed the video at any point in time, and tell me in the comments who your favorite ice type is. Mine is Dugong. I love Dugong. It's one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. Thank y'all. Love y'all. Peace.